Present time, Derek enters a suburban railway waiting room. Danny is already sitting there reading the Times newspaper. Danny looks up and smiles at Derek.
Good morning.
Excuse me, do you have the right time on you?
Yes, I make it 9:20.
Oh, thanks, that's what I've got. But I thought I might be running slow.
The next Waterloo train is due at 9:45. I presume that's the train you're waiting for.
Yes, it is.
Usually runs on time, notwithstanding fog, snow, leaves on the line, emergency repair works, orchestrated bank holiday strikes, or any other southwestern rail device inflicted to hamper the average uncomplaining traveller.
Oh, it doesn't take much these days for the whole rail system to disengage, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Derek eventually takes his seat. Then, after a short pause, Danny throws him a question.
Not working today, then?
No, as a matter of fact, I've got a job interview in town this morning.
Good luck. I hope it goes well.
Oh, thanks.
Thank goodness my days of being on the receiving end of sticky interviews are well behind me.
I'll admit they can be unnerving.
I've had plenty in my time.
Mostly successful, I would guess.
Oh, no, certainly not to begin with, I assure you.
But then things improved.
Oh, definitely. Once I developed the right knack, I began to sail through them.
Well, perhaps I could benefit from a brief crash course with you.
You don't need it, old son. You've only got to remember a short sentence of 4 words which defines the golden rule.
Well, that sounds simple. So, am I to be allowed access to this magical phrase?
Of course, it's no secret.
The tried and tested adage is, therefore...
Lie your head off.
Lie your head off? I'm sure that's not the employer's textbook dictum for creating a good impression.
Maybe not, but imagine, you might be the ideal man for the job, industrious, conscientious and considerate. That's entirely valueless, as it's impossible to demonstrate those attributes during the course of a 20-minute interview.
But it wouldn't be me to come over as a fake. I mean, surely an employer would see straight through any sort of act of deception.
Not necessarily. If you rehearse your dialogue well beforehand, it can come over as completely natural and trustworthy rhetoric. I'm sure you could do it.
Oh, but, well, to just sit there and tell fibs?
Dear boy, in terms of selection and, if you will, natural selection, it all comes down to the survival of the fibiest.
But if I got the job under those circumstances, I'd be unable to maintain such an act. I'd soon resort to the slightly diffident, unassertive specimen that you see before you.
But you'll have acquired the job. All you've got to do after that is prove you can measure up to it, whatever your natural personality.
I'm not totally convinced. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
I'm Danny McCormack.
I'm Derek Pope.
Look, Derek, would you mind if I fired a question at you, as in an employer's evaluation interview?
Oh, not at all.
Right. Imagine you're now in the interview room, right? Now, I'm going to ask the question, and I want you to answer in the manner that you would normally would, okay?
Well, I'll try. Shoot.
All right. Now, I'm the interviewer. Right, Mr. Pope, this job demands a high degree of security, all stars having a totally incorruptible spirit. So I must put it to you, are you an honest man?
Pete?
Right. In the way I'd usually answer.
Can you
say something? No.
Pete, we've lost you.
Is it only us?
Oh,
Where-
we haven't lost
We haven't
Pete.
lost Pete.
Oh, it's just
We
us then.
lost you.
We lost
Sorry,
you.
right.
Right.
In the way I'd
Let me
usually
do that bit
answer.
again. Yep, away you go.
Well, I would say that a subjective assessment of myself would be that I'm fairly honest, fairly truthful and principled.
You said subjective. Does that mean other people regard you as being dead dodgy?
No, not at all.
It sounds like you're avoiding giving them a guarantee about your integrity.
Okay, you want me to say that I'm honest. I am honest, although I guess we can never be sure of our individual boundaries. I mean, I don't know how I'd be if, say, I was pushed to the absolute limit. That is, if, for instance, I stumbled upon a large sum of loose money in the gutter, well, that would be something of a moral dilemma, I guess.
Derek, you've just talked your way out of a job that you'd be perfect for.
But my employer would be justified to make a decision against me on the basis of that response. I'd have to accept it.
But can't you see you answered it in that way because you are honest, too damn honest. You gave the man a frank and honest answer when the situation was screaming out for a good old-fashioned honest-to-goodness lie. Deception delivers every time.
All right. But as you detected from my answer, I was actually providing a demonstration of my total honesty.
Most commendable, Derek. But the next man in gets the job. And why? Because he comes in and is crafty enough to state that he's trustworthiness personified, even though, in reality, he'd rob his own grandmother. See what I mean?
Absolutely. Though I've got reservations.
Fair enough. But let's expand. What about your hobbies?
Hobbies? Oh, nothing spectacular. I just do a bit of writing for my old school magazine. Occasionally I paint for my own pleasure. And sometimes I travel to the Hammers away games, have a bet on the games while I'm at it. That's about it.
Oh, for God's sake, don't mention betting. We all like a punt occasionally, but to admit to wagering money is akin to confessing to an indulgence in habitual masturbation. After all, we're all inclined to dabble, but it's absolutely taboo to make it a public revelation.
Fair enough. But how should I make those hobbies sound exceptionable?
Okay, we'll have you down as a playwright.
I've never written a play in my life.
Who cares? You write, don't you? Then, didn't you say you paint?
Yes, occasionally.
Right then, so you're also an artist. And you said you're a West Ham fan.
Yep.
Perhaps you ought to switch that to Arsenal.
Really?
So you're a keen sportsman, extensively travelling around the country to, remember, not bet, but I would say to pursue your investments. Okay?
Well, that would be a considerable embellishment on reality.
Yes, but there's a thread of truth nuzzling in there somewhere. All the best lies have a foundation of truth. Just remember not to overdo the exaggerations.
But I'm beginning to hate the person that you're trying to push me into becoming.
It's for 15 to 20 minutes of your life. Do you tell your wife the unerring truth every day? Or do you provide the answers that she really wants to hear?
But that's diplomacy, not downright deceit.
Sure. And a job interview is only a performance. Nothing to do with reality. A performance, an act. If you were the only guy competing for the job, you could afford to be more candid. But in as a field of, say, 6 to 10 competitors, you can't afford to show any sign of weakness.
Sometimes it takes courage to admit to a failing.
Courage or naivete?
Well, maybe it's just a question of confidence.
Absolutely. Confidence to reinforce your deceptions,
Lies.
if you wish.
Well, I'm going to give it my best shot.
Would you like to try for another question?
Sure, I'm game.
It's the old chestnut, I'm afraid.
Well, okay.
Righto. You have to choose between two members of staff.
Oh, I hate these.
I agree, but it's vital you follow this strategy.
Okay, I'm ready to adopt your plan.
Great. Now, you have to decide which one has most potential. Member A, who asks many questions to the point that he slows down productivity in the office, or member B, who's quick but plows on regardless, asks few questions, and as a consequence makes many mistakes.
Both are liabilities to some extent, but the guy who makes more mistakes must be the greater drawback.
Why do you come to that conclusion?
Well, the first guy will, by asking questions, eventually learn more in time, consequently ask fewer questions and make fewer errors, whereas the other chap learns less and goes on causing mayhem by creating further mistakes over a longer period of time than our eager, if uncertain, first member.
Bravo. A textbook answer. And then exactly similar to the identical answers delivered by all of your competitors.
But it's something you can't lie about. Where does your deceit stratagem enter the proceedings?
By dodging the obvious answer.
Well, how's that?
Well, consider you've been asked a hypothetical question. In evaluating 2 members of staff, you'd need much more information at your disposal. You avoid the obvious pitfall.
True, but how else could I answer?
You should say you'd warn them both.
Well, that option wasn't included in the question.
No, but in reality, it's what you do, isn't it?
I would, actually. And then I'd give them both, say, a week to reform their working practices.
Yes. And then the most adaptable guy moves up the ladder. You see, it's the unexpected. The interviewing panel hadn't bargained for that little shift in intellectual judgment.
Thinking outside the box.
If that's what you want to call it. So if a panel gives you a hypothetical question, just bat it away, because nobody ever fits rigidly into a set behavioural pattern. I mean, in essence, why couldn't the guy who is the more sure of himself, even though he makes mistakes, develop into the ideal contender?
That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. So turn the question on its head. Give the panel a reason to remember you. I know from being in their shoes that once you've seen more than 3 candidates, they'll all start to merge into one unidentifiable person, all giving uniform, presentable, but forgettable answers.
In that case, perhaps I should go down on my knees on the floor to create an impression.
No, the kneeling process comes after you've got the job. But at least say something different from the others, something that will make you stand out.
Ooh,
Noticing the approach of 2 female travellers.
looks like we've got company.
Oh, yes. Perhaps we could employ a little experiment using these ladies as guinea pigs.
Oh, I don't think I'll be at all happy with that.
Come on, Derek. All you have to do is engage with them in conversation and see if you can manage it without speaking a word of truth.
Oh, come on. I'm really not sure.
Have a go. It'll be fun.
No, I don't think I...
Shut up. Here they come. Remember, only lies.
Jane and Jennifer enter.
Look at this place. It's not very clean in here.
I reckon these fixtures have been here for over 50 years.
You're not looking at us when you say that.
Ooh, no, sorry. Didn't see you there.
No, it's so gloomy in here.
But you ladies have brightened things up a bit. Eh, Bob?
Bob? Oh, I see. Yes, Kevin.
Bob, would you agree that these ladies are particularly bright and attractive?
No, I wouldn't agree, no.
Cheers, mate. Your pal's a right flatterer.
Sorry, joking. At least, I hope you are.
Not joking.
I bet that charm school was sorry to see you go.
Look, I'm sorry. On occasions, I have a tendency to be blunt, but I always say, if you can't insult friends, who can you insult?
Why insult anybody?
I'm sorry. Bob's having an off day. So, is this a day out in town for you ladies? Shop till you drop?
Yep, spend to the end. What about you two?
Oh, we've got a really special day out. You tell them about it, Bob.
Oh, yes, Kevin. Really special. We're part of a Deep Sea Divers Convention, staged after the Astoria in town.
You two? Deep sea divers? Get away. Are you really?
Never.
Absolutely. Oh, we're never more at home than when we're 40 fathoms under the ocean, diving boots on, digging deep into the ocean bed, seaweed cascading around our helmets, a multitude of rock salmon helmets, a multitude of rock salmon fanning their way majestically across our path.
What about the bends?
Oh, well, we don't do much bending, not in those suits.
No, Bob, I think she means the nauseous condition we divers are subject to whilst being winched to the surface.
Oh, yes, I see. The bends, yes. Oh, yes, very nasty.
Well, I must say, you two don't look the type to do that kind of thing, do they, Jen?
No, I'd have said you look more like city bankers.
Silly, what did you say?
Come on, come clean. I'll bet you've never even been scuba diving, let alone wading through old sunken wrecks.
Old sunken wrecks. We've seen a few in our time, eh, Bob?
Look, I'm sorry, Danny. I don't think I can keep this up much longer.
Yeah. You told us his name was Kevin.
Okay, that's it. It's confession time. Look, ladies, I'm Derek, And this chap is Danny. We're both on our way to London, and we were just killing time by playing this stupid, childish game
Whatever for?
to see how convincing we could be whilst uttering the utmost unbelievable tripe.
You're frozen. It certainly was. You never stood a chance with the off. With that tale about you being deep sea divers, blooming twits. So what do you really do?
Well, I'm an ex-civil servant, and my friend Danny is, well, actually, I'm not at all sure what you do, but I would venture something in the region of senior management.
Whose idea was it to feed us with a load of twaddle?
Danny remains quietly innocent. Derek awaits Danny's confession, which, as he's apparently preoccupied looking around the room, never arrives.
Oh, I'm afraid that was me. It seemed a good idea at the time. Just harmless fun. I hope you weren't offended.
Lord, no. Blinking idiots. Still, bet you wouldn't believe that we were both former catwalk models, would you?
Well, it's more believable than our work of fiction.
In fact, Jane and I aren't working at the moment, but we both used to work for the Inland Revenue, didn't we, Jane? So, we're well used to being lied to.
Don't blame me. It wasn't my idea.
You look just as bad.
I'm not as bad as him. Butter wouldn't melt. Well, ladies, since we're all heading for the smoke today, what do you say we'll meet up later for lunch?
Dear, is he still in Fantasyland, or is he on the level?
I'm not sure, but all I can say is that he's speaking solely for himself. I don't think my wife would be very accommodating with that idea. I've been happily married for many years with kids coming out of the woodwork. Hence my trip to London today to find a more secure and better paid job.
Oh, come on, stick in the mud.
Danny, I've got an important interview to attend. That's all I've got on my mind at the moment. After that ordeal, I'll just want to get home to the safety and security of my own domestic scene.
With the wife hoovering under your feet and the kids screaming their heads off.
Whatever, I don't care. And anyway, I'm sure these ladies wouldn't want to be encumbered with our doubtful presence during their shopping expedition.
I'm sure you two would have been delightful company. What do you think, Jen?
Definitely. I bet we've really missed out on a convivial afternoon with, I'd say, the Boston Strangler possibly here and Jack the Ripper beside him.
Such high praise. Just when my friend Derek has now safely been released from his 6 months period of probation.
Hope that's still the tripe rather than the truth.
It's tripe. I'm definitely going straight from now on.
Hey up, you two. Looks like the 945's arriving on platform 1. Let's go, Jen.
Two women and Derek all rise from their seats. Danny remains seated.
We're off, you two. See you at Waterloo.
Have a nice day. Give my love to all those deep sea divers.
Yeah, I will.
Good day, ladies.
Yeah, ladies exit.
This one's ours, Danny.
I know.
Well, aren't you coming?
No, there's no need now.
Look, the train stopped. I've got to go.
No, Derek, stay here.
Stay here? Don't be stupid.
It's all right, Derek. You've got the job.
Are you mad?
Not at all.
Look, don't be daft. I'm going.
No, stay here. I told you, you've got the job.
I'm not listening.
That's to walk off.
You fool, stop. It's me you are going to see. Me. I'm the senior principal of UK Securities, and I won't be there because I'm right here, right now.
I'm going to miss that train.
You were due to go to the Vauxhall Cross to see a Commander McCormack at UK Securities branch. Your appointment was due for 10:45.
I've got to see a Commander McCormack. Oh God, you're right.
Well, I announced myself as soon as we met, Danny McCormack.
The train's about to go. I don't believe this.
Just look at my card. I'm awfully sorry if I provoked you anyway by my little deception.
The flipping train's pulling out now. That's it. Danny, I can't believe it. I refuse to believe you're the genuine article.
Sit down, lad. I'll explain. It had to be done this way.
This is more than bizarre.
I agree.
Is this a dream or what?
This is absolute naked reality.
But you're saying I've got the job. Can that really be true?
Yes, lad. Congratulations.
But why? Why the hell have you pulled such a stunt as this? Why couldn't you have just interviewed me in the usual standard way? I've already paid for my ticket to Waterloo today.
I'll reimburse you for the fare. It'll be well worth it.
But I still don't believe this. I mean, you really don't know that much about me, and all you've been doing this morning is panicking the pants off me. Surely I haven't been at all impressive while I've been fending your outlandish manoeuvres for the last 20 minutes.
That's about the usual length of an interview. And I found more about you in that time than I ever would in the artificial atmosphere of a planned meeting.
This is surreal. Do you do this all the time?
Frankly, no. But I had 5 applicants for this interesting position, which commands a very attractive salary. So I wanted to be sure to make the right choice. Believe it or not, I've already seen the other 4 candidates.
What? Surely not on a rush hour suburban railway station.
Of course. 3 on stations and 1 I was lucky enough to stand next to in a queue for the number 92 bus.
Oh, unorthodox isn't the word.
But you must realise in this field of operation, the government can't afford to take any chances.
It's just as well I never set out today on roller skates.
Naturally, I did get my secretary to check with all the interviewees about their intended travel arrangements.
But this whole charade, I mean, it's off the wall, it's crazy. And it's an imposition, that's what it is. Damn sneaky. You've been sizing me up and I took you for an innocent bystander.
Yep. Sneaky it definitely is. But then again, it's a genuine covert operation and very effective.
So are you saying that you've turned the other 4 candidates down on the basis of, what, their waiting room etiquette?
Certainly. Most of them let slip traits that they might well have kept well concealed in the London office meeting, and that might have led to them becoming national security risks.
I don't want to talk myself out of this, Danny, but I thought on that basis I'd have flunked your little traps just like the others.
Not at all.
But I resisted your advice about how to respond to interview questions. I was unable to convince those ladies about my concocted story, and on top of that, I ducked out of a social engagement with you all.
That's exactly why I chose you. This job depends on high security, very high security, confidential safeguards, diplomacy, and absolute honesty, together with displaying a freedom from enticement. You passed each test with flying colours.
Oh, I can't think how.
Well, think about it. You couldn't tell a decent lie to save your face. First, you said you wouldn't. Later, proved absolutely that you couldn't do it.
That's true.
You then shouldered the blame for something which I was clearly solely responsible. After that, due to your own harmonious domestic scene, you backed out of an opportunity to meet up with a couple of dodgy females, even though throughout this entrapment I was egging you on to give it a shot.
Well, I wasn't even trying to impress.
Absolutely, that's what I liked. I need someone I can rely on implicitly. You'll be working in the corridors of power in Whitehall, the very seat of British government.
Well, I realise that, Danny.
I have to rely on someone with natural decency, not some toadying sycophant.
But maybe I could be a crawler.
I don't think so.
You can't be sure.
Except that since you've established my true identity, you've still found the courage to charge me with being crazy and sneaky.
Well, you are.
Exactly. I never wanted a yes man, and you're certainly not sycophantic. In fact, strangely, you treated me with more respect when we were complete strangers.
As a stranger, I gave you the benefit of the doubt, particularly when you were giving me a rough time.
That was only a guise on my part.
Of course, but as an employer, you'd have to earn my respect.
Fair enough. But whether you like it or not, the dark art of deception is a major requirement in this post.
But the question I now ask myself is, do I really want this job?
It'd be crazy to turn it down.
But having witnessed your operating methods, devious, unscrupulous, even capable of lying through your teeth to further your own interests, I'm thinking, is this the role model that I'd wish to replicate?
Naturally, it would be your duty to do so.
Well, I suppose if it's for Queen and country, together with a super salary, I believe I could brace myself to commit an unmitigated allegiance. In fact, how could I refuse?
Terrific. I'm certain you'll be more than capable. You'll be more than capable in the job.
Thanks. But obviously I'd be a fool to openly spar with you now.
Why change? In business, contradiction has the ascendancy over acquiescence every time. You see, I try to treat all my employees as equals, and I admire a man who can stand up to me.
Well, where do we go from here?
I'll give you a call in the morning to discuss terms, and I'll confirm your appointment through the post.
Thanks.
Naturally, I've had your background thoroughly investigated.
So you'll know about my occasional trips to Russia.
That did cause a concern at first, but I understand you've got old friends there, and in fact, you met your wife over there as well.
Absolutely. Russia fascinates me, but I have little sympathies for their past and present political system.
So we understand. You speak Russian, don't you?
Yes, I do.
That could be very helpful to us. You'll be a very useful member of our team.
I'm sorry I never got to see the impending working environment and maybe have a chat with my future working associates.
Actually, you have already met my secretary, Jane.
What? Not,
I'm afraid it's confession time again. I needed some assistance with this interview, so I whistled up my trusty PA.
So I was outnumbered?
It's fairly usual engagements of this type to be faced with a triumvirate.
A triumvirate is 3 people.
Yes, there was Jane as well as my good wife, Jennifer.
Your wife? You mean...
I'm afraid so.
Oh, no, but they were so convincing.
Jenny is the star player in our local amateur dramatic society. By the way, she gave me the thumbs up on her way out, so you're well and truly in the fold.
Well, I'm still reeling from this, from the whole experience.
Well, I'm needed back in my quarters, Derek, so if you don't mind, I'll be popping back now.
Do you mind if I remain here for a few minutes? I need to recover and to make a call to my wife.
I understand, Derek. Sorry to put you through the ringer today, but overall, I'm sure it would have been far less demanding for you than a starchy forthright grilling by some anonymous grimacing clique back in HQ.
Let's shake
Well,
hands.
good luck, Derek. I'll call you later.
Thanks, Danny. Goodbye then.
Danny exits. Derek looks bemused, shakes his head in disbelief and puffs his cheeks, then takes out his phone and punches in a number.
Oh, hi, Kim. Hey, guess what? I've got the job. Unbelievable. Yes, I know it's early. I'll explain later. No, not now. I'll be home in 15 minutes. I thought you'd want to know immediately since your own security schedule's so tight. But it's brilliant that we can now both be working in the heart of British government. Yes, that's right. Dear old MI6. I can't believe it. It's amazing. To restart working together for our glorious motherland Yes, fighting against this corrupt imperialistic regime right from within the British security network. What a masterstroke. Oh, yes, and you'll never believe this, but I've just realized I'll be working alongside an old colleague of yours. Yep, that's right. Remember Comrade Dmitri, your old KGB commander? Well, believe it or not, he now operates under the name of Danny McCormack, Supreme MI6 Security Chief.
That's only more Arabic.